Hello friends and greetings for the day. Welcome back to another tutorial on ISTQB Advanced Level Test Management Certification. We are in chapter 2 talking about managing the product and continuing ahead with our same segment, that is 2.3 Defect Management. And today we shall be looking at the next subsegment, that is 2.3.4 Defect Management Challenges in Hybrid Software Development, and would try to understand what it happens when two different SDLC models are used in the same project or within the same team. What kind of defect management challenges are basically a part of it. Just to set up the context related to different SDLC models working for the same project, the important part here is more about the information being collected. For example, traditional believes in having more heavy information and agile believes in having very lightweight information. And at the same time, when two different teams are working, they may have different template, different information to be collected, and then the fields may not be mapped together. And similarly, if I further extend our discussion, we can even go outside the organization when two different organizations is working together, which is very much practical in today's world, that organization A is working on one part of the system, organization B is supplying an API or web services, and supplier 3 is working on something else. Then these three people may have different templates of managing the information, different types of logs available to support the defect, and they may have different information to share with each other. And that is where the defect management can be conflicting and sometimes becomes very troublesome to deal with the information or help people to resolve the issue. And that is what the whole topic is all about, to try understanding what kind of challenges are we facing when it comes to hybrid development model. And this is not related to an organization following it, but yes, within the organization, if you have two different teams and they have independent development model. So to understand this further, let's deep dive into it. The very simple thing, in practice, multiple teams often collaborate on the delivery of the system or systems of systems. Examples include hybrid software development model, when a customer uses agile software development and one of their suppliers uses sequential development model, or when an organization using a sequential development model requires delivery of a subsystem from a team using agile software development. Such a multi-team environment poses various challenges. And I think this is what we were just trying to set up the context with, that when two different SDLC model comes into picture, there might be several challenges. So let's discuss them one by one. The very first challenge we have on our screen to discuss is alignment on the defect attributes and the tool to be used for defect management, which certainly becomes my very first constraint, that what kind of attributes will be collected, which is the field value, and second is the tool being used. So in an ideal scenario, all the teams generally use one defect management tool, but in practice, it is common for each team to use a different defect management tool as well, especially when several suppliers team contribute to project delivery. In such cases, it is good to establish synchronization between the defect management tools, preferably automatically. So one way is to resolve the issue by having a single common test management tool. Like for example, most often you would have heard that when a client is using it, a particular tool like Jira, and then we are using something else, then client would insist that, hey, we would like you to use Jira so that we can be on the same page, same kind of information can be shared, and we can be aligned. Okay, so sometimes just because it is a client requirement, we can shift into that. But in case it is internal, then one team is using something else, or maybe an external organization is using some other tool, like, maybe other test management tools, custom tool created, then we don't have a solution to make it as one tool. But the point now is how to synchronize the tool so that the data can be passed on from one software to another software. So it is more of like integration between the two systems to see how the defect fields can be mapped to their respective fields and the value can be added. But yes, again, we prefer to do this automatically because we don't have time to manually feed the data back into multiple tools. Okay, so that is where it is important for us to understand that this is one of the challenges which we can face. Adding further to this, of course, we do have other challenges. And the next challenge we have is prioritization of defects. The product owner should be included in the defect management meetings and actively seek information about consequences and risk associated with each and every defect. The defect management meeting should be held more often with agile software development than in sequential development models to keep pace with the agile team's faster rate of product increment delivery. These meetings may, however, be shorter with agile teams. Sometimes it is beneficial for a smaller group of defect management stakeholders to have the final word about prioritization of defects. A simple thing to understand that prioritization of defect now is again a cross-functional thing. We just covered in our previous tutorial, that is 2.3.2, that how do we manage the defect cross-functionally. That means it's not one person's responsibility to manage the defects and prioritize them. The whole team discusses together and understands the significance of a defect, the failure, and of course the consequences of not fixing a defect. And exactly here we are also trying to understand. When they are from two different SDLC models, there might be certain things to talk about the prioritization. But talking about prioritization is done via a triage meeting, and this triage meeting can be longer when it comes to sequential. But if you are working in a blended SDLC approach, that is hybrid, then we must see that the agile team doesn't have so much time. And at the same time, they have a very fast rate to work on things. So we may have to collaborate in a way that we keep a call, but very short call, so that the information is passed on, the information is provided to us to make the decision, and even decision is made, including the prioritization, so that everything is in line and in schedule so that we can work on it. And the team can take required actions accordingly, right? The third option here, or third problem, what we have with us is, of course, alignment and transparency of the test plan for the new development and the defect fixes. All teams' work should align to the same project plan, irrespective of whether they are using agile software development or sequential development models. All deliverables, including defect fixes, should be aligned with the project plan. Better alignment can be achieved by active participation of the members of all the teams in the planning process, right? Which includes things related to the overall participation of sequential models and agile model teams, where defects are discussed and prioritized, which is again a simple word. It is more about the triage meeting, which is held between the team members, and they also check that are we aligned to the plan. Also to add here, of course, transparency of the development plans can be improved by sharing them between the teams via a dashboard or via a product backlog. Now, in a simple way, the defect management, whatever we are conducting, we just have to make sure that we are even in line with the plan. And people may have, or the teams may have different plans for their own set of work, and that should not be impacted. But at any point you find out that the plan is getting deviated, then you should always share it with the other team or other stakeholders to help them understand that why it is important for you to probably prioritize this defect and how this is blocking your work, which may in turn get you misaligned from the plan or the necessary schedule, right? So this is the third thing, which is talking about the plan part. So of course, one is the alignment of tools. Then second is, of course, the prioritization. And third is about getting in line with your plan, which can also be different between the two SDLC model, because Agile is a pretty fast-paced sprint-wise execution, whereas software sequential development models have their own pace to do the job and with all the comfort. But both working together, we need some of the challenges to be taken into account. Well, that's all from this particular tutorial, team. Should you have anything else, feel free to comment below. I'm always there to address your queries and answer them well. Till then, keep learning, keep exploring, keep understanding the context. Thanks for watching the video, team, and happy learning.